Hi everyone, welcome to Big Bend.
Big Bend National Park.
Mountains that are unbelievable.
We're in the Chisos Basin campground right now. We're going to be here for 3 nights, and we've only been here one night in the Chisos Basin. We've been in Big Bend 2 nights so far, and
it's been an action-packed.
We've had a lot. We've done a lot already since we've been here, and we've done so much that we just woke up from a nap.
We kind of look like it. Well, we were on a hike first.
Yeah.
And hiked about 5 miles, and then we came home and took a nap.
Yeah. But where did we start? So first night we got here, we camped at the Rio Grande Village campground. Now there's 2 campgrounds in Rio Grande Village. There's two campgrounds for RVers. One with hookups, one without hookups. So if you're making reservations, make sure you specify. I will tell you, the one with hookups is basically a parking lot.
They're close together.
They're
side by
slammed
side
in there really closely.
Yeah.
We stayed in the non-hookup one, and it was fine. I mean, it was just like most any other state park or national park. Kind of, they were not really spread apart, but not too close together like a parking lot either.
But they had dump stations and water, potable water, as you entered the park, so you could, get situated.
Right.
For
there is
time.
Right, and there is a no generator zone, so be careful, be aware of that. We were in the generator zone. There were people running generators. We had one, but the solar was fine. We didn't even need it for the one night that we were there.
Now we are staying here March 1st, so to kind of give you a time reference. Yesterday the temperatures were crazy high. It was like 90 degrees.
It was warm.
It was hot.
Yeah, it was hot yesterday. Today, however, it's cloudy and in the 60s.
Beautiful.
So it's
perfect weather.
Yeah, it's really good.
I'm glad we hiked today instead of yesterday.
Yeah. So we've done several things since we've been here. First thing that we did whenever we were here after we got set up in the Rio Grande Village was we took 2 hikes that day. We hiked into Boquillas Canyon. And so it's like it's a 1.5 mile hike, I think, round trip. Goes down along the Rio Grande and into the canyon.
USA. Across the river is Mexico.
The second hike that we did was the Rio Grande Nature Trail. Did that around sunset, and it's recommended as a sunset destination. It actually takes you up onto a point. I don't know what the name of the hill is. It's not necessarily a mountain, but it's a elevated area up overlooking the river and the campground, and it's really pretty.
Yeah, it was great. We got some good sunset shots. And we were able to see the campground and everything from a distance, so that was kind of cool.
Yeah, we also, there's 2 things that are around the Rio Grande Village that we haven't done or didn't do yet, and I don't know which one. We may do one, we may do both, we may do neither, we'll see. One of those is the hot springs. So we did go by and visit the hot springs. We hiked down to the hot springs, really short hike. The road in there is interesting.
Very narrow.
Really, really narrow road to get you down.
No dualies.
Yeah, you can't have any vehicle like a dually truck or anything. We can't get in. The road's too narrow. However, whenever we got there, it was really, really crowded. There was a lot of people in that hot spring and jumping in.
It was fun to watch, though.
Yeah.
Because people were in the hot springs and then they would jump out.
Jump into the river.
Into the Rio Grande, so.
Cool off.
It's kind of neat.
One of the other things that we want to do is I think go into the town of Boquillas. That's it's through the port of entry and the border crossing, the official border crossing there at the Rio Grande Village. So we'll probably do that sometime later this week.
So the Big Bend area, they support the Boquillas crossing. They kind of they
Right.
kind of partner with them to help the people, and
Right.
so it's pretty safe.
Yeah, the Bukias village, or Bukias town, I guess, is pretty much fully supported by tourism. You will see, as you're on hikes, especially in the Rio Grande Village area, you'll see a lot of souvenir stands. Kind of, it's basically big flat rocks where they'll have their things that they've made, and there's really cool stuff there. I mean, they make little ornaments and trinkets and hiking sticks, and there's, you know, where they've sewn things and embroidered things and that kind of thing. However, you're encouraged, right? Obviously any purchase of that on our side encourages illegal crossing into the U.S., and so therefore they discourage you from doing that. So we didn't purchase anything there, but assuming that we go into the town, we'll definitely support them that way. After we left the Rio Grande Village campground, we drove towards the Chisos Basin campground for our next night's stay.
It's not very far either.
It's not really far.
Less than an hour.
Yeah, it's less than an hour. We took more than an hour just because we're going through a lot of desert environment. The plants are really cool. There's lots of cactus, agave, yucca. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. There's I mean,
a lot of jumping out in the middle of the road and taking pictures. It's beautiful.
Oh
here.
yeah, it's really great with the mountains in the background. You have these big bluffs in the background along the Rio Grande, and it's spectacular.
So yeah, it took more than an hour.
It did. We made a lot of stops with the camper, and then we finally we got to the Panther Junction Visitor Center. They do have a gas station there, a fuel station there. There's also a fuel station at the Rio Grande Village. Those are the only two within the park. After we finished all of our pictures through the desert, then we decided to make our way up to the Chisos Basin campground. The road in is just take your time. I mean, it's pretty much uphill the entire way. The Chisos Mountains kind of form a ring of mountains, and there's kind of this valley in the middle. So where we are right now, we're completely 360 degrees surrounded by mountains, which is super cool. But just, take it easy. Don't, it's got a pretty low speed limit, and it's pretty much uphill the entire time, through about 10 to 12 miles. So just, there's plenty of pull-offs and whatnot to stop and see. It's only available for really small rigs. The Chisos Basin, or the campground, suggests a limit. If you're planning to come to the Chisos Basin campground, be sure to check on the size limits for the RVs. There is a size limit, and it is very tight in here.
It is.
Really small campgrounds. We talked to some of the hosts, and they were saying, yeah, this campground was built in the 1930s and was mainly built for tent camping.
Yeah, it was not meant for RVs.
Right.
Trailers.
They've converted some, and there's some room for some, but you really need to pay attention, and it has to be a really small RV or travel trailer to get into here.
Didn't you look on Google Earth and kind of look at the layout and stuff before you picked one?
Right, I did. That's one of the things, and one suggestion that I would have is, if you're going to camp here, use Google Earth. It is your friend. You can get on here, and the street view is great, or the Google Earth where you can get a top-down view, and you'll be able to see the campsites are nothing but a pull-off on the road, and they're not very deep. And so it ends up being pretty much what should be a 2-lane road is kind of a 1-lane road once everybody gets in back, gets camped on both sides, if there's RVs. And so you really have to worry about people, meeting head on, and somebody's got to back up, and if you have a trailer, the problems that can cause.
Yeah.
So once we got here to the campground, it was, as Christy said, it was getting warm, it was getting hot, and so we wanted to go to the visitor center here at Chisos Basin, and also check out the lodge and the restaurant and the store and whatnot that they have here. We were looking for t-shirts and those kinds of things, souvenir places.
Not very many good ones. I ended up not getting anything, which was kind of disappointing.
Yeah, we did get a good sticker for the back of our camper.
Yes,
though.
we did.
They have good stickers. Whenever you get here, Chisos Basin is kind of the home base for lots of trails. So there's lots of hikers that come through here. The two of the main kind of day hike trails, I guess, are the Windows Trail and the Lost Mine Trail. We did the Lost Mine Trail this morning. It was fantastic. Yep. A lot of other backpacking opportunities here. There are guys that go to the tallest peak, which is Emery Peak here, and then they go into the backcountry from here with a backcountry permit. But this is kind of where the hub of most of that backpacking is. We haven't done the Window Trail yet. That's where you go, and we'll show pictures of the window. Basically, it's a gap in the mountains. So we have 360-degree mountains, but there's a gap, and that's the window. So you can see beyond the mountains.
They say the sunset's really pretty through that too. We haven't seen that yet.
Yeah. We did go to a really short hike up at the visitor center called the Window View Trail, which is a paved trail, accessible, wheelchair accessible, etc., and just lets you kind of see, overlook into the window.
Yeah, and it's a great view. It's not less than.
Right. It's really good.
Just as good.
Yeah. So the other thing that we did yesterday was we took a drive on the Ross Maxwell Scenic Drive. But prior to that, actually, we went to the Fossil Discovery exhibit. So that's kind of, it's one of those, you'll pass it on the way in from the original entrance station. It's between the entrance station and the Panther Junction Visitor Center. It's in between there. It's okay.
Kids, I could see kids really liking that.
It was really hot whenever we were there. If you're coming in the summertime, the exhibit itself has a lot of shade, but it's an open air exhibit. There's no air conditioning or anything like that. I didn't see any water. I think they have pit toilets, and that's it.
Yeah.
Once we finished with that, we drove on through to the Ross Maxwell Scenic Drive. Fantastic drive, kind of a long drive. Big Bend is a big park, and so we drove that road. It goes around on the outside of the mountains, and goes all the way, winds its way all the way down to the western perimeter of the park, where you're near Santa Elena Canyon, which is phenomenal. Yeah, it was really good. Santa Elena Canyon is, it's amazing as you're approaching that along the scenic drive. You'll see in the distance, you'll see this big, just massive wall, and then there's a gap in the wall, and that's Santa Elena Canyon. And then there's this gap in it where the Rio Grande is cut through. And the trail, there's an overlook, and then you can drive down and hike actually into the canyon. It's about a little less than 2 miles, 1.7, 1.8 miles round trip. It's a really nice trail. It does require some up and down. There's some switchbacks at the beginning.
But the switchbacks are great. I mean, they're like cement.
They're paved,
flat.
right?
It's easy to walk on, and they have some handrails there. So, but it's totally worth it. Just take your time.
Right.
The views are great.
We did it right around sunset, and
Yes.
it was really warm. It was warm, but once we got down into the canyon, it was nice and cool.
We did it around 5 o'clock in the afternoon. There was shade for the hike, which was good.
Yeah.
And even though it was hot, the shade helped a lot. And then once we got down, kind of descended down into it, it cooled off quite a bit, and we were able to sit next to the Rio Grande, just along the banks, and just enjoy the view. And it was pretty neat.
We've been using the word epic.
The word of the trip.
Yep, is epic.
Epic.
So then, coming back from there, we got back. It was dark. We got to see the sunset. Along the scenic drive, though, there's a couple of different places you can stop that are scenic, that have overlooks or hikes, or there's a couple of ranches. There's the Mule Ears Overlook, which, and then there's a couple of other overlooks. We stopped at one on the way back and got to see a gorgeous sunset that I think Christy will probably tag or post here as well.
Absolutely.
The Lost Mine Trail is 5 miles round trip. It is, I think the trailhead is about a mile, maybe 3/4 of a mile from the campground. And so we drove up to the parking area just because I didn't want an extra mile on my trip. But then you go, there's very limited parking. If you're gonna go there, if you're gonna do this hike, start early. Would be my suggestion. Go in the cool of the day, get as much as you can.
Take jackets.
take jackets for you will be going up. You're not really summiting a peak, but you're going up on top of a ridge with a great overlook. About a mile into the hike is when it kind of breaks out, and you get to see, you're top of one small ridge, and you kind of get to see over. It's fantastic. It's really gorgeous views.
That's the good thing about this hike, is that along every curve and stuff, you see really interesting things, and you see the views of the mountains and stuff. So it's enough to keep you going, and you see different aspects of the mountains. So it's not like just walking through a forest and you're on a hike. It's epic.
Yeah. And it's unusual for us because, I mean, we've been to the mountains before, but this is high desert mountains, I guess. So there's lots of cactus and agave right next to some of the cedar trees and that kind of thing, which is just odd for us. But it is bear country. They warn you to be careful as you are hiking. Just be bear aware.
Yeah.
You get past the first mile and you kind of get to an overlook and a scenic overlook, then you start several series of switchbacks basically that takes you up and over the next ridge, which is scenic the whole way up, as Christy said. Then once you finally get up and over that ridge, you're kind of walking on top of that ridge for a little while, and you walk out to a point which is really beautiful.
All right, so thanks for watching this first section of our trip to the Southwest. And we hope to post more videos about our trip along the way. So don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button so you guys can come along with us for the rest of our trip.
Please do.
And hit that bell button. You will be notified when we upload new videos.
As you've probably seen, we don't keep to a really specific tight schedule right now. We're beginner YouTubers, and so we kind of do it as we're traveling or as we have things to say. I know most YouTubers out there have like a regular release every Wednesday. We're not that sophisticated yet.
No. But thanks for watching. We'll catch you on the road.
Thanks. Bye.